Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the 25th day of March, 2026. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your families are safe and healthy and that the needs of you and your families in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders every day risking their lives to save lives. Those also that pick up garbage to keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are here try to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Those that are trying to help people that are victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts that create the demands that cause these industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, families, children, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night in Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks defeated the New Orleans Pelicans 121-116. I was a little concerned about this game, not because if you look at the Pelicans record, it is very deceiving. They are at this point in the season playing their best basketball, and the reason is, as most of us realize, DeJounte Murray came back. He's been out for more than a year. I think it was his Achilles he tore, but he's now back. And they were 7-3 over their last 10. They are a very powerful offensive team. When you look at their roster, I mentioned Murray. There's Trey Murphy III, a very accomplished now veteran, offensive talent. Zion, of course, Sadiq Bey, who we wanted. They're not letting him go, though. Then they got this rookies, Queen and Fears. And Fears is something else. Both of them are good, but Fears is something else. He's still figuring out NBA level defense, which is why they took him off the floor last night when he was killing the Knicks. But offensively, he's like Maxey, very difficult to guard, a blur offensively with the basketball. So they got a real future set up here. All of these guys, Williamson, Murphy, Queen, Fears, they're all young guys. I mean, Murray, I'm not sure how old he is either. I mean, he's 29, so he's still in his prime. He lost a year of his prime with the injury, but he came up from San Antonio, then went to Atlanta, and then was involved with the trade that brought him to New Orleans. But they're going to be a force. The problem with the Pelicans has always been injuries, and mostly to Zion Williamson. That's been the problem. They drafted him number 1 overall. They were expecting him to be the franchise cornerstone. His weight problems have caused issues for him and for this team. I mentioned earlier this year, I still think they would trade him, although now with Murray back, and now Williamson he looks very svelte right now. He doesn't look like he's 290, 300. He looks under 285, put it that way. And when he's under 285, 280 in the 270 something range, he becomes a different player. He becomes the superstar they thought he was going to be. So I thought that they would trade him. They just signed him to a max deal a few years ago. He's in his 7th season, I think now, believe it or not. But I don't know what they're going to do with him. But at this point, if I'm looking at their roster, between Fears, Eve Misi, Queen, they got another second-round pick, Matkovic, who's a decent player. He showed out a little bit last night. Sadiq Bey, we know about. Murphy, Zion Williamson, and then there's all defense. Herb Jones, who's playing the 5 for them. They got a nice squad. If they could stay relatively healthy, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future. So they came last night with all guns blazing. Okay, so they was ready to ball last night. The Knicks did a really good job. So they had McCall a lot on DeJounte. DeJounte was 2 of 12 last night. Okay, so DeJounte felt Mikal Bridges. Look, Mikal Bridges, I've always said, was that missing piece for the Knicks. This is before they got Cat. When we had Juju, I felt like Mikal was that missing piece. And people was tripping about the 5 picks. People that do that are stupid. I'm just going to say it. And you know why I say that? Including stupid-ass Stephen A. Stupid. You know why? Because, look, you get a player to help you win a championship. That's the reason you get guys in that position. You had a team, you went and got all the pieces. You just need that one piece that was the glue guy. He wasn't going to be a leading scorer. He's not going to be a superstar, but he's the guy to get you over the hump. That's why they got McCall. Okay? So everybody expected him to be scoring 20 a game. That's not why they got him. And so when you think about it like that, I want people that are so stupid to keep mentioning it to say this. If Mikal Bridges causes the New York Knicks to help them win their first championship in 50 years, are you going to still complain about the 5 picks once he helps you win a chip, which he can very well do? Okay? And that's what I look at it like. He's the glue guy to help you get to the chip. The goal is the championship. You're not going to get 5, 3, 6, 20-point scores. You need a glue guy. Mikal Bridges can play both sides of the ball, high-level defense, ask the Celtics, and he can hit big shots in the clutch, ask the Celtics and Detroit. He could do that. So that's why you get a Mikal Bridges, and last night he showed it in his defense on one DeJounte Murray, who has killed the Knicks at Madison Square Garden in the past, especially when he was with Atlanta and San Antonio. So we got a good one here. We got a good squad here. He showed what he could do last night on the defensive end of the floor. Now, last night was a business-like win for the Knicks against a very good, like I said, this team is better than their record shows because of the injuries they've suffered. And the defense wasn't what we'd like. Okay, especially we talk about the 3-point defense all the time. The Knicks gave up 15 of 34 threes to New Orleans. New Orleans shot 44% from 3. Again, they were late on getting out to the shooter. That's really what this is all about. It's just about getting out to the shooter. And they were late in getting out to the shooter. And that's a rotation issue. That's an issue on the weak side. I am sure, well, I'm 100% sure that the coaching staff and Mike Brown know this is a problem. And I'm also 100% sure that they got plans to shore it up. So I know they're going to do that. And we've seen it. Now, there's some other knuckleheads. It's amazing how you're supposed to be Knicks fans. And people that are supposed to be supporting the Knicks are ready to bring up negativity when they've just won 7 straight. Like, who are they playing? They're not playing anybody good. Let me also tell you this. The Knicks don't make the schedule. They just play who's on the schedule. And if they lost, you'll have something to say. And now they won, you'll have something to say. You understand why I delete people from my channel? So it don't matter who they playing. The thing is to stack the dubs. That's what you want to do. Now, they got a tough one coming up tomorrow at Charlotte. Charlotte has been balling, okay? This is why you have the draft the way you have it when they don't fix it. But this is why you have the draft the way they have it. So here's Charlotte. They get LaMelo Ball, very injury-prone young boy, injured a lot in his first few seasons. He finally seemed to turn the corner. Then you went, and after you got him, and then after you got him, you go draft Miller, another baller. Okay, Miller's a real deal baller, so you get Brandon Miller. Then you get Knuppel, I hope I'm saying his name right, Colin Knuppel, whatever. You get him, and then you go and trade for some ancillary pieces like a Kobe White, Colin Sexton. Then you get another grinder in Diabate, who's like a Dennis Rodman type grinder type dude. Now you don't have a championship team, but you definitely got the makings of something. I don't know if they're going to keep Miles Bridges. And I'm just saying that because he doesn't fit the timeline with what they're going to do. But they've now, look, Brandon Miller's averaging 20. Ball is averaging 20, right? And 7 assists. Knuppel's averaging 19. So they got the 3 shooters. They're playing defense at a much higher level now. That's where, to me, for Charlotte, the change has really come. It's the maturity level of these guys in terms of being able to take care of their bodies and stay on the floor, and the defensive maturity. That's really what causes young teams that are hopeful to turn into real deal teams, like your Detroit. Okay, so you look at Detroit, they draft Cade number 1 overall. They struggle for like 3 seasons really bad, but they get Duran too. They get Beef Stew. They add some pieces. Then they went and get Malik Beasley at the time. They got Tobias Harris, which I was wondering what they was doing, but that was a good piece, a vet piece they brought in there. It's a consistent vet piece. Then all of a sudden now you see that defense get turned up. Last year they lose to the Knicks in 6, but this year they're top of the East. It's the defense. So Charlotte also has turned the corner on the defense. Right now, if you look at Charlotte, they got the 4th best differential in the East. It's Pistons, Boston, New York, and then Charlotte, 4 plus 4.6. Now, generally, it's very close. It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, the differential with your standings in your conference. So look, right now, the 5th best one is Cleveland. So you got the 5 best differential is Pistons, Boston, New York, Charlotte, and Cleveland. Now, Detroit, Boston, New York, and Cleveland are top 4. But Charlotte is not. Charlotte is 9th right now, but the reason is they started coming on late in the season. So here now, Charlotte is 38 and 34. They ain't had a record like that since they had Kemba. Okay, this is the first time I think since LaMelo Ball has been in the league that he's on a team this late in the season better than 500. So they're now for real. Okay, Charlotte's for real. They're not quite, they're not like where Detroit was last year. They're probably a season behind where Detroit, maybe 2. A little more maturity for both LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, another piece that fits the timeline. And they really are. They've been in search of a 5 for a while. They thought they had him in Mark Williams. He was injury prone. They thought they had him in Nick. Forgot his name. Whatever. He's in Phoenix too. He was all right, but he wasn't there. They need a 5. Okay, they need a 5, and so they will probably be looking for that this summer. A solid 5 that can, like a Hartenstein, that can give you 72 games a year and play both sides. That'll transform Charlotte, okay? That really will. So Hartenstein would probably be on their radar this summer, and I would be offering him whatever the max money I could give him to get him there, because that can make a difference. Philly should too, but like I said, Philly's still messing around with Embiid. I would cut that tie and bring Hartenstein in there, save me some money and go about business, but that's up to them. But if I'm Charlotte, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a max offer to Hartenstein this summer, because Hartenstein's going to be a hot commodity because he already got a chip. He's already been a solid piece, but now he's legit championship piece. So Charlotte is good. Diabate is a monster on the boards. He's smart, but like I said, he got that Dennis Rodman energy. So they're going to be good. So the Knicks about to go into a 4-game road trip. That's going to be, the last tough road trip, but it's going to be a tough road trip for them right now. So they're going into Charlotte tomorrow. The Knicks have won 7 straight. By the way, the Knicks have had at least 4 or 5 times this season when they won 5 or more in a row. They've had 2 times where they lost 4 in a row, which I don't think is bad. I mean, every team goes through that. But they've had at least 4 or 5 times where they won at least 5 in a row. And this is one of them times. They don't won 7 straight. So now, this is going to be a tough part of the schedule. You're going into Charlotte tomorrow. That's going to be a tough game. And the good thing about it is that the Knicks play well when they understand and respect their opponent. When they think they could just roll over them, they sleep, especially in the first half. This is going to be a real game. Charlotte's really going to try to kick your behind, and you need this win. So this is all good. Keep Knicks on their P's and Q's. So they got to go into Charlotte tomorrow. Then Sunday at Oklahoma City. Good thing is that it is Sunday, so you playing in Charlotte on Thursday. You can fly out in the middle of nowhere to Oklahoma City, get yourself acclimated to the time change and all that. So they go into Oklahoma City for Sunday at 7:30. That's going to be a tough game. And then they go from there 2 days later to Houston. Tough game, okay? Then that's a back-to-back, and you finish that final big road trip in Memphis on the back-to-back. So the back-to-back aspect makes it a tough game. Not that Memphis is a tough team. Their league, they could beat you, but you're going in there on the second night of a back-to-back and the end of a 4-game road trip. They're going to be tired. So you're looking for Mike Brown to go a little deeper in his bench, usually in these scenarios. But speaking of that, we got good news. Deuce is scrimmaging, and I told y'all we was looking for that. He's now scrimmaging. So this is Wednesday. I expect him to be with regular practice by Friday or Saturday. And then I don't know if he's going to play, if he's going to play Sunday against Oklahoma City or not. I'm sure they're going to break him in slowly, especially since it's still March and you got March and you still got a couple weeks in April to play. You don't have to rush him back. You could break him in slowly and let him get his feet wet, let him get his rhythm back. That's going to take a little time. But the good news about that is you might by the 31st. Nah, not then. I was going to say maybe by April 1st, maybe, but probably not. You might have him back in the regular rotation. I don't know. Depends on how fast he comes back. We don't want to rush him back because I definitely don't want him to get hurt. We need him playoff time. With respect to Jordan Clarkson, who's been balling, really, I wouldn't say, I'll put it this way. When you're talking about Deuce, Clarkson, and Shamet coming off your bench, two things. Number one, you won't see Tyler Kolek, okay? And there's no knock on Kolek. I was saying that, yes, there's no knock on him. But look, you got Deuce, Shamet, and Jordan Clarkson. Three guys that know how to play in playoffs, been veterans, know how to do their business, solid on both sides of the ball, okay? And the other thing is, so put it this way. Let's say you use all three of them cats. And you got Mitchell Robinson. So now you could use all three of them. You could bring Mitchell Robinson and you could use a starter. You could use OG. You could use Cat, with them three, okay? And so you ain't losing nothing right there. You can use all three of them guards. Deuce and Clarkson plays 1 and 2s. They can guard, Shamet can guard 1 through 3. Deuce can guard 1 through 3. So you got something there. And so Kumo D, I guess what I'm saying, he might be the odd man out, being that he's the rook. He might be the odd man out come playoff time. I wouldn't be surprised if Brown uses all three of them cats, Clarkson, Shamet, and Deuce, against everybody in the playoffs. So that's what we got dealing with there. Because you got to go with the grown-ass men come playoff time. And grown-ass men are not only veterans, not only been in playoff positions before, but know how to win in those situations. You don't want any rookie mistakes. And it's not Kumo D's fault that he's a rookie. It just is what it is. You're going to use him. I think he's going to get some minutes, but forget them rotation minutes. Okay? That's going to go to Clarkson, Deuce, and Shannon. Okay? So them cats going to be getting the 10, 15, 20 minutes. What you want. And then, of course, Mitchell Robinson is Mitchell Robinson. But last night, they were workmanlike. And what I want everybody, if you could, notice Brunson last night. What makes the difference in the fourth quarter? Why does he take over like he does? What you see from Brunson in the fourth quarter is on most possessions, he's making a decision to go after the basket within a few, like 1 or 2 seconds. He's not dribbling the air out the ball. If he is, we're in trouble. But generally, in the fourth quarter, he's making a split decision to get to the basket, either on a break situation or when he gets it off ball. But even Clyde mentioned last night, man, when he goes off ball, he's tough. Yes. Very tough. Okay? And so when he gets it like that, and he's making a decision very quickly with the basketball, he's usually very difficult to guard and very successful. When the whole defense is geared towards stopping him and he's trying to dribble against one guy when there's other guys waiting, that's when we have bad things happen, okay? In the fourth quarter yesterday, he was making decisions within a second or two. He would get the ball, he was coming over half court and he saw something, he was going to the basket, okay? And so that is the Brunson we want and we need, especially going into the playoffs. That was the difference last night. He took over in the fourth, but he was making very quick decisions with the basketball. It's the timing of him holding the ball that's the problem here. Either he goes to the basket or he doesn't, or whatever he's going to do, but he does it quickly. Okay? Now, the bad possessions take place when, again, I mentioned he's dribbling the air out the ball. All of a sudden now he's dribbled 10 seconds off the clock, maybe 12, and then the Knicks end up with a rush shot from somebody else. Or he comes down on a break, or he comes out and he just pulls up. Nobody else has touched the ball, and he just pulls up from 3. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a possession we just wasted. Okay, so that is what we don't want. What we do want is what we saw in the fourth quarter yesterday. We want him to take over, but we want him to make decisions to get into the paint very quickly with that elite footwork and then make things happen, which is what he does. Now, yesterday, the Knicks really, like I mentioned, New Orleans shot 44% from three. That's, no matter what the Knicks did, they gave up 44% from three. We're going to have to clean that up. They did out-rebound them, which is, of course, Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns. They've really been good, especially second half of this season. Now, assists, again, 29 assists. Okay? What does that do? Listen, Mikal Bridges gets turned on when the ball is moving. So you can tell, I can tell you right now, 29 assists, he had a good offensive game because the ball is moving. Okay? When the ball is not moving, somebody called it a slump. He's in no slump. If it is, it's caused by lack of ball movement. Lack of ball movement and Bridges are 100% synonymously tied. They connected. So if the ball is moving, Bridges is going to do well. If the ball is not moving, he's not going to do well. It's just that simple. Okay, it's just that simple, especially offensively. When the ball is moving, he gets engaged in the whole game on both sides of the ball. When it's not moving, he may not. So we want ball movement all the time. Not sometimes, all the time. Mr. Brunson, okay? So look, it happened last night. He was engaged. He played very well, okay? So then, looking at the turnovers, only 11 turnovers, and New Orleans only had 7. There was offensive things last night. But New Orleans beat us in the paint, 56-52. Okay, but see, that's where Brunson comes in the fourth quarter. That's where Brunson comes in the fourth quarter and takes over. Okay, so we won the game. It wasn't a perfect game, but it was progress toward what we want to be a perfect game as we move forward, especially with now Mr. McBride apparently maybe a week from making his appearance. I say I give it a week, before he's ready to come back. Like I said, I don't expect them to push him for 30 minutes in his, 20 minutes in his first appearance, but they're going to break him in slowly. You might see him 8 minutes, then 12 minutes, and 16, little by little he comes into the game and breaks him in. Now, Shamet, we have the luxury because of Clarkson balling and because of Alvarado, we have the luxury of letting Shamet come back fully healthy. He don't need to push himself back when he's not ready. At the knee bruise, let that heal. He comes back at some point whenever he's feeling good. Now, with respect to Alvarado probably be out, because look, you're talking about Clarkson, Deuce, and Shamet. But you cannot measure Alvarado by stats. He has had games where he's had tremendous statistics, since he's come to New York. But Alvarado is energy on both sides of the basketball. Speed, quickness, and energy. That's what Alvarado brings. That always helps. The only time speed, quickness, and energy does not help you is when you're turning the ball over. Okay, so Alvarado, if he's not turning the ball over, in which he's not a big turnover artist, if he's not turning the ball over, just the speed, quickness, and energy helps the Knicks in terms of winning. Okay, impact on winning. So he can put pressure on people because of his speed, quickness, and energy. He can move the basketball. He's a ball mover. The ball moves when he's on the floor. And again, he's very speedy, quick. He can get in lanes when he wants to. That can only help the Knicks, especially when he's not turning the ball over. So that's him. He could bring that in the playoffs, but we don't necessarily need it for 20 minutes. We could use it for 8. We could use him for 8 minutes. That's about perfect. That's what I'm saying. You could use him for 8 minutes. But Clarkson, Deuce, Shamet, you use them for 20. Okay? They can get a blow if somebody's in foul trouble or whatever. You can bring Alvarado in. For now, though, they're all going to play. Alvarado going to play. Clarkson going to play because we still don't have 100% Deuce, 100% Shamet. So they're going to play, okay? But playoff time I'm talking about right now. So you're going to use Alvarado, but you don't have enough minutes for all of them. You don't. You just don't have enough minutes for all of them. And I honestly like all of them, but if I had to choose, it'd be Clarkson, Shamet, and Deuce. They will overwhelm most other benches. And that's really good. You still got Alvarado there on the outlay. See, that's why I'm saying you ain't going to see Kolick because we got too many guns at the point guard, at the guard spot. We got too many guns at the guard spot. And we do got guns there. So tonight now, Boston is hosting OKC. This is a game we want to see SGA be MVP SGA, right? We want to see them do their thing tonight because if they can and they get a win in Boston tonight. Now remember, the other night, Juju and them came into Boston and got a dub. Boston gonna be really, they're gonna be really gunning to not lose tonight, second in a row at home. So it's gonna be a game. But listen, the defending champions are still the defending champions. So it's gonna be a tough game, and I'm expecting SGA. Right now, they got Oklahoma City 58-42 in terms of the odds of winning, and so they're giving SGA and them the edge. Right now for the Celtics, they're only missing Vucevic. That's it. Everybody else is there. And Oklahoma City is missing Thomas Sorber. He's out for the season, but he's been out since October, so they ain't missing nobody. They got Holmgren. They got SGA. They're going to have Hartenstein. They're going to have the whole Oklahoma City crew. So is Boston. I give Oklahoma City the edge at the 5 spot. Cater's been playing phenomenally for where he was drafted and all that, but he ain't Holmgren. And he ain't Hartenstein, okay? And then you got Jaylen Brown having an MVP type season, all of that. But I'm gonna give Oklahoma City the edge. So if Oklahoma City wins this game, the Knicks have sole possession of the 2nd seed. But then the Knicks got to go into Charlotte and handle business. So it's gonna be up in the air, y'all. Listen, at the bottom line, dog fight, especially the next 4 or 5 games. Dog fight in the East. Only clear-cut persons in the East is Detroit. 5 games up. And to me, I hear y'all, some of y'all say, well, they got a tough schedule. Detroit's the real deal, y'all. Detroit's the real deal. Even without K, they not compete. They beating good teams without K. I don't know. K might not be back for the rest of the regular season, but I can't see them. If there's 10 games without K, I still see them going 6-4. Okay? And that ain't good enough for anybody to overtake them in the East. I don't think anybody will. So I'm conceding Detroit as the number 1 seed in the East. I'm looking for the Knicks to take number 2 seed in the East. And yeah, we'll deal with it then. But for now, this is where we at. So tomorrow, Charlotte. Tonight, Boston against Oklahoma City. I'm going to be watching that game, rooting for. I'm going to have my Oklahoma City rooting. And let's get this dub. And then tomorrow, Knicks got to come back and get this dub at Charlotte. We got to be tight for tomorrow. Anyway, it's exciting. It's sad and exciting. Sad that we're at the end of another season, but exciting that our Knicks are in the thick of it. Enjoy the games. We'll talk soon. So.